but in general, you know.
Mm. Yeah, well, the reason Alicia and I were talking about it, because y'all know my wife is a relationship therapist and a mental health expert, is that what you really saw was just mental health problems on full display, right? I think the internet provides this really insane opportunity for us to take all of our family dysfunction and just, puke it out onto the internet for 100 million people to see. And so they've really been getting messy with each other, and it's not just costing them in terms of the things that money can't buy, like like the stability, psychological stability of your children, and the fact that your kids are going to see all this and know that mama slept with daddy's best buddy 5 years ago, that kind of thing. But also, these two together, each of those individuals has a corporate brand that's probably worth at least a couple $100 million. So you're also destroying the economic potential of your family empire. When you're two of the biggest artists in the world and you're married, you could become billionaires like Beyonce and Jay-Z, or you could just, destroy it all in public. And that's what I kind of saw.
Mhm. Yeah, well, for me, what I saw was, I'm no relationship therapist, so I feel like love is one of those things that nobody teaches us, and business relationships in love. A lot of people don't teach us growing up how to resolve conflict. Every marriage that ends in divorce is irreconcilable differences in some capacity. So you find like we've learned how to drive a car. We've learned how to you know all the finances. You have all these theories to get to an answer, right? But mathematically, but what the hell do you do when somebody cheat on you? It
Mm,
feels very much like this doesn't, how do you regulate your emotions? How do you figure out how to go to the elders? And I feel like we missing that. Offset and Cardi B should have elder relationship advice to guide them. Like you young people in love with millions and millions of dollars. Why would they be figuring this out via Black Twitter? This is something that
mm.
requires true leadership. If they had the insight, they would be like, well, we could reach out to Dr. Boyce and Alicia and see if we can get some kind of guidance
Mm.
on how to reconcile. Who teach men how to have sexual discipline? Who teach women how to have sexual discipline? These are all internal things that either you have it or you don't. So I personally
Uh,
believe that divorce doesn't have to be the end if someone taught us how to resolve conflict.
Wow, I think that's a great point. That's really interesting when you talk about that. Just and maybe this is another area where the Black community, in my view, has lost trillions in wealth just from because knowledge is a form of wealth. And we have elders, who have a lot of knowledge, who have a lot of experience, who have a lot of expertise, who are specialists, who have degrees in this stuff. But there's something about the culture that's promoted most heavily in the Black community that is very youth centered. That
Mm.
pretty much almost acts like if you're above the age of 35, you ain't got nothing interesting to say or do. But if you're a 22-year-old with a mental health issue, then you're going to have 100 million followers and you get to go online and just throw out all this chaos. And that's what people are looking to for advice. I think there are a lot of people that would take relationship or business advice from a broke, dysfunctional rapper before they would take relationship, business, or mental or physical health advice from a specialist who was trained in those areas. Somebody who's older, who has experience, who's made mistakes. And I think that that's really costing uh, us in terms of opportunities. You know what the word poor stands for, right? Do,
No,
do you
tell
know? Everybody tell in the chat. Put it in the chat. We have a little thing. Poor stands for passing over opportunities repeatedly.
me.
So
Ooh,
so
very
whenever you see a Cardi B and Offset, or if you go back 30 years, you had Suge Knight and Tupac sitting on top of something that could become a multi-billion-dollar opportunity, and it ends up with chaos and dysfunction and problems. That pretty much is an opportunity that was passed over. Every time an athlete goes broke, he's throwing away $1 billion because that 100 million could have grown into $1 billion by the time he retires. And so instead of this lasting generational wealth legacy, they could create hundreds, if not thousands, of jobs. generational wealth for 3 or 4 generations down the line. Instead, it just becomes this opportunity where we're like, dang, that was a whole lot of money y'all wasted.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on some of that?
Well, the reality is, I've been saying this for years, and we talked about this at the last All Black National Convention when as it related to the Black family. What happens is, in the 1600s, the 1800s, the white man was getting so much money by separating the Black family. He take the father, sell him off. He take the woman, sell her off. She breeds children, take the children, sell them off. And if you think about this aspect today, it's still happening. You get the man, the woman, and the kids, and I own them all. And so
Mm,
you have to ask ourselves, what are we doing? What are we doing? One of the things that we are doing is we are not giving our community the value system that lasts a legacy. I see a lot of people talking legacy through monetary in a monetary way. They say, oh yeah, I want to leave my kids something. I want to leave my kids. Leave your kids what? Because you haven't left your kids integrity. You haven't left your kids honesty. You haven't left your kids, intrinsic motivation. So that means you leaving your kids money. They ain't finna do nothing but give it back to the people that you was working so hard to keep it away from. So it's like
mm.
we have to understand our own power. This is why if you think about the rappers, and both of these rappers, no, nothing personal to them, but it's like if you think about what they produce, you a woman who talking about popping P, and that's not a very positive outcome. It's hard to spit that kind of stuff, or regurgitate that and then go home and be a good wife. It's hard
Mm.
to do that. You
Mm.
think about being a hoe all week. You in the studio about, robbing niggas, taking their money, and without any compassion, without any, compassion or sincerity or compassion. So it's like, yeah, I just really don't see how you're supposed to speak so negatively about love and life and also have such a positive outcome. I don't think it's possible.
Well, what's really funny, anybody know that poem? Remember that poem where they talk about what love is, and they say, love is patient, love is kind. Let me see, what how does it go? Love is kind. The whole verse. I'm gonna look up the verse because I think it's important to kind of, and actually it was in the Bible, actually in
Yeah,
Corinthians.
that's
It says
biblical.
love is patient and kind. Love does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes in all things, endures all things. Love never ends. I think that's a powerful statement because I think about the culture. What we're told is the culture that's promoted to us. It's not a patient, kind culture. It's patience is delayed gratification. Our culture is instant gratification. The culture marketed to us. It's not our culture. It's not kind. A lot of the culture is built on gangster stuff. Even I heard Cardi when she was going off on her husband in front of, like, there was 100,000 people on the live stream listening to mental illness, when 100,000 people could have been in the live stream listening to wealth building strategies, or they could have been 100,000 people could have been in a live stream listening to how to heal from trauma. 100,000 people could have been listening to how to educate your children. 100,000 people could have been listening to how to build a strong family. But instead, 100,000 people were listening to you F that ego over there, and you SOB, and you ain't nothing, and I'm a gangster, and I'm a gangster bit, that type of thing, right? That's what 100,000 people were attracted to and wanted to listen. That was the energy that they wanted to connect to. So if you think about this, pay attention now, and I want y'all to think about these words and compare it to the culture that's promoted to us. Patient, the culture is not patient. Kind, the culture is not kind. It's gangster, right? And mean mugging, all this other stuff. Culture, it says love does not envy or boast. There's a lot of haterism that goes on, a lot of jealousy, a lot of boasting. And unfortunately, hip hop is all about boasting and bragging and telling everybody how great you are. It's not arrogant or rude, right? arrogance is everywhere in the culture that's promoted to us. I look at me, I'm popping my this and I pop in my collar and I'm better than you and better than, whatever. Right. And you can keep on going. I mean, you can really keep going down this list. So it's almost, Madam President, it seems to me that it's like, it's not just the economics that's missing. It's like the spirituality. Like some parts of the culture have zapped us of our spirits and turned us almost like into animals when it comes to dealing with each other. And animals can't really have healthy relationships.
Yeah, I agree. The what you're saying from the Corinthians is not the same that's being pushed through the airwaves on the radio, And sometimes too, I just like to say that it's hard to be that kind of love sometimes. It's hard to always operate in that. This is one of the reasons why I think that, you find so many Christians, they read the Bible and they got this probably plastered in their bathroom, in their kitchen, but they do not have that plastered in their behavior. So being those things is one thing. Just saying it with your mouth is another. But, if we go back to the value system, these people do not think about this. What rapper that's Asian rapper gets away with basically being a thug, drugs, selling drugs, shooting shooting a nig, all of that? None. There are none. Jewish rapper, none. There are none. So all that to say that we've swallowed this culture and it's ruining us on the inside. I mean, even like the kids having access to this kind of music. And I remember growing up listening to Lil Kim. And I remember my mama was like, wait. I kid you not. I like to say my mama still owed me a cassette tape of Lil Kim. I was literally like in fifth, sixth grade. And my mother came back home from the beauty shop. And she comes home and she says, I heard about this rapper named Lil Kim. No, I think I saw a tape in here. I said, Mom, it's just a rapper. She, and my mom took that cassette tape and she said, this is garbage. And she put it in the garbage. And
Wow.
I still feel like, let me just tell you, my mother did not know gentle parenting. So I don't know when that came out, but it did not come around me when I was growing up. So I was,
Wow.
but all that to say that because I had a mother that put a seed on the inside of me that this is not that appropriate. This is not okay. I couldn't go and participate in Lil Kim like behavior without some kind of consciousness in my head. This is not okay. This is not all right. So that's the thing. It's too many of us who feels connected to this bullshit. It's being how you feel connected to being slaughtered? How you feel connected to being drugged? How you feel connected to, to the disconnect and discourse of somebody that you're sleeping with? The new, and this is what I was listening to. You listen to Taylor Swift, which I don't, but if you listen to pop culture, you'll hear the white girls on the guitar strings, making my way downtown, walking fast. Just making her way downtown, walking fast, having a good time. And you got Glorilla. Oh yeah, fuck a nigga, ho. Yeah. Like what? Why are we?
That's so funny you say that. I listened to Glorilla, who, by the way, in case y'all don't know who Glorilla is, she's a rapper, and I like to listen to the music just so I can, before I criticize something, I allow myself to appreciate it so I can understand why people like it so much. And so let me just tell you, Glorilla's talented. She's got that Tupac swag in a way, dare I say that. And but the first verse I heard from her was it's 7 p.m. Friday, 95 degrees. I ain't got no Igga, and Igga ain't got me, right? And then she goes into everything that you would kind of expect in the music in terms of the killing and the animosity and just the toxicity, right? And so she literally starts off by getting young black women proud of just being completely disconnected and independent of men in every way, right? And that's become like a badge of honor in a way, right? So rather than making your badge of honor something that relates to love and connection and building of family, building of some sort of institution that's going to build something generationally, your badge of honor is that I ain't really got nobody. And don't nobody got me. I do what I want. I serve myself. I'm selfish. I don't give a damn. I think she says I got 1,000,001 haters, and y'all can kiss my ass. Like that's all. I want everybody to go through it. Like if you really analyze hip hop lyrics, you learn a lot about the mindset of the person who created those lyrics. And words have power. Words are real. Words manifest. So, like for example, when Biggie and Pac were around, let's go back to my generation. What was one of Biggie's most popular albums right before he died? Does anybody remember? Anybody remember what one of Biggie's biggest albums was? I don't remember how many he put out, but one of his last albums, if not the last, was called what? Anybody remember? How many Biggie fans we got? They're Ready to Die. I think there was Life After Death. I think that didn't he have one called Life After Death too? Right? So it's all about death, 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 death. Tupac, same thing. Constantly, constantly wrote about death. And what happened? Both of these guys died before the age of 26. Right? So what you're putting into the universe, it doesn't just circle back to you, but also it creates an environment around you. Rappers are not products of their environment. Their environments are products of them. So I personally would say to young people, be real careful about what you talk about, what you brag about, what you want to be connected to, and how you carry yourself, because that's gonna shape your life, right? If I'm shaping myself as a toxic person who's ready to fight with everybody, who's got this undiagnosed, untreated trauma where I refuse to go see a therapist to make myself better, to heal from the things that happen to me, then I'm never gonna have love. I'm only gonna have war. You cannot build love with a warrior mentality where you're always like this, ready to fight everybody, including the people closest to you. And this is killing families, which ultimately kills Black wealth. Madam President.
No, I totally agree. We are as how we are connected through wealth is through togetherness. So if there's this deep separatism between us, then we lose our money. I think I heard one of the brothers say that every billionaire company in the country is a family. It's not a LeBron James. It's not a Jay-Z. It's, Heinz Ketchup. It's a family name. It's Walmart. It's a family name. Chick-fil-A. It's a family enterprise. So the value system works. Hilton brand. It's a family. People talking about Paris Hilton. You got to look up her grandfather and her father. She's not sitting around at the front row of Fashion Week because she was a model. She's sitting around at Fashion Week because her father and her grandfather took care of the business. So we are all under this impression. If you think about this too, Dr. B, everybody in the Black community is pulling their own generational start, which is problematic, because you got a grandmother and grandfather. Hey, we know the stories there. Maybe they was able to secure homes and loans and all of that. But hey, then you got kids that branched off. Man, I got to get out of here. I got to go start something up. And then, hey, then the kids, hey, I got to get out of here. I got to start something up. And I thought about this because I grew up in a very what is it called? Like a multi-family home. Like my grandmother, my mother.
Multi-generational, right.
Multi-generational home. So in my multi-generational home, it dawned on me when I got into the spirit of entrepreneurship, it dawned on me. I said, why do we go out to work every day when I was a young girl? Why didn't we come home and start talking about what we bring into these companies and how we were going to bring it together? And this is the problem that I have. I tell people this all the time. In our community, if you want to have a cookout, you want to drink, hey, bring the Hennessy, y'all. We're going to kick it. You can get everybody and their mama come over, play a game of cards. But if you tell them, hey, y'all, we finna read, we finna take care of the taxes. We finna read. We finna take care of our taxes tonight. This is what we're gonna do. You're gonna figure out how we should formulate our business, whether it's an S corp. Look how many people don't show up. Nah, man, I'm tired. I have worked all week, man.
You acting white.
Yeah. And it's like, and this is real. This is real, y'all. This is real because the reality is, ask your children. This is what made me think about. I was rushing out the house probably a few days ago. I'm rushing out the house and I just heard the voice of my stepfather because I was leaving out the house and I had things everywhere. I had things in the kitchen that I hadn't put up. I had my bedroom out of place. And I heard the voice of my stepfather say, where do you have to go that is so important that your house is not in order? That makes me turn around. Nowhere.
Wow.
There is nothing I have to do, nowhere I have to be that's more important than having my house in order. Yeah, I feel like so often, so frequently, we feel like this other side of success is like this is having dinner with Jay-Z. No, the other side is you really taking in all that you know. Even when you think about this, Dad, like our say for instance, growing up, your parents say, "Hey man, you can't go outside until you make your bed." You're like, man, I don't got time to be making no bed. I'm ready to go outside. You know, it's like you want to do those things, but then when you grow up and you start making your bed and you don't need nobody telling you, you living a life of discipline, you living a life of taking care of business before you hit outside. But people don't tell you that. They'll have you thinking, you know, and mind you, all of the rappers, I ain't heard Megan Thee Stallion is the only rapper that I know that is possibly a college graduate, right? And I'm not the one here to say that being a college graduate makes you more of anything. But just think about this. If you want to work at a music industry, at a music label, you got to have a prerequisite probably of a college degree. But if you want to rap for the label, you don't need no form of education. You don't need nothing. You can be felon, don't matter. We don't care. To be in the forefront. And I feel like we as a people, we've agreed to all of this. This stuff isn't just happening to us. If we was the type of people that was like, hell no, you can't put this music on our children, guess what? Those labels will stop doing it. But for years, these labels, they pick the worst of the worst to go out and spread. And we do it. We do it willingly.
Wow. Well, by the way, everybody, for those who came in, this is Madam President, is the one and only. And you might have, if you were listening carefully, you might have heard her call me Dad. That's because she's also my goddaughter, and so we don't get to talk about that much. But yeah, we've been rocking together for a very long time, and care about her very much. And she's super smart, as you can tell, and has great energy and has a lot of powerful things to say. And so everybody, you should follow her on social media, by the way. Her Instagram, is it one Madam President? Is that right?
Yeah, one Madam
With a
President.
Z.
What
But
is
make sure you use a Z, right? So one Madam President with a Z, so you can follow her there. She's also going to be at the All Black National Convention, and I see Tierra Williams actually, who's another person that we see on a regular basis, who we love to death, is also in the chat. And so you will see everybody's going to be at the convention. It's a big family reunion. And there will be reading. There will be lots of reading and writing and all those things where people gonna think we acting white, but that ain't acting white. That's called acting black. So let's so Madam President, one thing I wanted to talk about in addition to that is you've talked a lot about things like corporate trauma in terms of just you were talking earlier about how we celebrate our jobs, and which is fine, but we're not necessarily celebrating ourselves, right? The same energy we're putting into masses business, we could be pouring into our family business. We could be putting into our generational wealth, and our generational legacy suffer because of that. We don't have anything. You bust your butt. You spend. I don't know if y'all have heard me share this or not, or if you've heard me share this, Madam President. But I heard somebody say that the biggest scam on earth is a job. And I was like, huh, why is that? And they said, because the job's the only place where you can work as hard as you can for 50 straight years and then end up with less money after you're done than you had before you started. And I thought that was really powerful. If you think about how many people And we've talked about this in class. Like, there's a retirement crisis that's happening right now. It's only going to keep getting worse because most baby boomers don't even have enough money to retire. Gen X's definitely don't, and then millennials are really in bad shape. And so the question is, what are we doing all this for? What's the deal with all the trauma that we experience from being Black in the workplace, and why are we so committed to that pathway to what really doesn't seem like success?
Hmm. Well, I think the commitment is to, having some money. That's the first thing. Like most people, I think you told me and taught me about this study where they had given kids a quarter and or a dollar or something along those lines in like second grade. And but the majority of the classroom spent the money. But the younger ones who didn't was probably maybe about three out of 20 students. They had something called delayed gratification, and because of that delayed gratification, they were able to just kind of have a life that was better than others. So one of the issues that I believe that happens in the urban communities, because I grew up in the inner city of Chicago, and I just think about where all the places that I have gone, whether it was Tyler Perry Studios, the Oprah Winfrey Network, Array Films over with Ava DuVernay, or if it was, working on Star with Lee Daniels, what I've learned was people and achievement all takes effort, right? It takes a lot of effort. But if you don't have effort, esteem, a belief system in yourself, which I'm sorry, guys, that stuff starts early. Some of you all are close to 40 years old and you still don't believe in yourself. That's a problem. You have got to believe in what you can offer this world. That's just number one. Number two, I believe that it's too many of us. I think about this from a film aspect. It's too many of us that was trying to be the movie star. But when
Mm,
I got to the industry, I learned that the cameraman is making the money. I learned that the boom operator, the person that's responsible for the sound of movies, is making the money. Think about all the Black actors that you know and how many of them were able to reach the status of a Denzel Washington. That's not easy. But then I want you to think about the cameraman who works on films, regardless if it's a movie of Denzel or whoever else. They work for 40 years. And the work that they put into the whatever, it has built the legacy for them. So I believe that we get this esteem from being able to work for others that people haven't taught us working for ourselves. And if you look into our communities, you got the Asians providing the nails, the hair, the Dominicans brushing the hair, the Africans doing the braid shops, the store would have the Middle Eastern men, Arabic men at the corner store. So you literally do not see yourself in entrepreneurship in the ghetto. It's not a visible thing. So we don't even grow up with seeing a whole bunch of entrepreneurs. If you don't have it in your immediate family, you don't see it visually. So you don't even know that that's something that you can do. Like who taught our kids that, baby, you can own the store? Because everybody got to get something from the store. You can own that. You can own,
mhm.
the school. You can own the school. You don't have to just be a principal. You can build a school. You can start a school. We didn't see it that way because of social media. Now I think we're seeing more. We have access to more, a visual to more, all these different social groups that I think that we never had previously.
Mm. Interesting. Well, yeah, I mean, I definitely think entrepreneurship that's another culture, right? You have various forms of economic culture, and I talk about culture a lot. My book is The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. If you want a copy, go to drboycebooks.com. And one of the things that we have to really think about is that culture is stronger than education, because education it explains to you how to do things. It gives you information. It gives you the what and the how. But what education doesn't really give you is the why. Like, why are you doing this? What's your value system? Culture tells you what your values are. Culture tells you why you do certain things. So if you have bad culture, like if your culture is that I want to just look fly and I'll go rob somebody to go get a Gucci belt, then you're gonna figure out how to be great at carjacking. You're gonna figure out how to be great at scamming. You're gonna figure out how to be great at robbing banks or whatever you got to do because you have the why. The why is I do this because I need all these material possessions. But same thing is true with entrepreneurship. If you have a culture of wealth and entrepreneurship, then if someone says, well, why do you believe in these things? If you ask rich people, why do you believe in wealth? They'll say, well, because we want our children to be safe financially. We want to have stability. We want to have a quality life. We want to have peace. Right. And so when you have the why, then you go into the what and the how. Right. Okay. I know why I'm doing this. Now, what do we do? At that point, you become an expert at things that will fulfill your why, that will fulfill your because, right? So, because I believe in having financial peace, I'm going to make a long term plan. Because I want my children to be economically safe, I'm going to invest for my children. Because I want to have a peaceful life, I'm going to go start that business. I'm going to go and find a good spouse that is able to help me grow economically, right? So you got to understand, like, what is your culture? And I want you to ask yourself that question. And so, Madam President, in terms of that, in terms of culture, I want to ask you about another kind of culture that was a little bit toxic and it's been kind of talked about a lot lately, and that's kind of the Diddy culture. I know a lot of people. Now, again, I'm not here to say if Diddy is as guilty as they say or not. I wouldn't be surprised if there were ulterior motivations for why they chose now to kind of do what they're doing. It's not coincidental, in my opinion, that they also got the black man who's running the DA's office in New York or the Southern District of New York. He was also doing a press conference on taking down Eric Adams, the mayor of New York City. I don't think all this is a coincidence. I think that a lot of it's politically motivated, and there are ulterior issues going on here. And I say that because Diddy's been doing Diddy type stuff for a very long time in terms of it being a space that wasn't healthy. I know people that worked with him and wanted to work for him who said, "Oh Lord Jesus, I'm not going over in that place because it's too crazy." But the point that I want to ask you about is culture. I know a lot of people who have a lot of potential who grow up saying, I want to work with a Diddy or I want to be in that particular culture. And we see what that culture gives us. The culture gives us a lot of trauma, a lot of death. Whether you're talking about Cardi B and Offset, fighting and going crazy, and then she says, "Yeah, your dead friend from your group, take off. I slept with him too, right?" Or you go into the rapper who died last week from a drug overdose. Not last week, but last month, Rich Homie Quan. You've got what happened in Memphis with Yo Gotti's older brother Juke getting murdered right after a young Dolph gets killed. Right, it's just death and chaos and dysfunction everywhere. And so what do we? How do we confront that part of the culture in a way where where you're able to go around sort of all the criticism of of people accusing you of either being anti-black or being a hater or you don't want to see a black person getting money. There's some things more important than money. How do we really address that culture? What's going on with that?
I think that's an excellent question. I think the best way to address that culture is start to separate from it. And I think that we are the answer. I don't think that there's an external answer to this because I believe just like when perms became popular, people started perming their hair. Men would get the perm so that their hair could be, straight, and then it became unpopular. You still wearing a perm? What are you doing? So men said, "No, man, you don't wear that stuff no more," because women didn't like it, right? So women, sometimes they say, "Well, I keep myself together. My man like this, so I need to behave like this." We have lost even interest in showing up for one another. So
Mm,
that's the problem. You got people who feel 100% validated in abandoning their own children. And like, there is no, and I say this to every woman on the planet, no matter what your color is, you should have a problem with laying up with a man who has not seen his children. You should have a
mm,
problem with laying up with a man who don't take care of his children. So it's like we are the answer to one another's issues, even in the hip hop sector, because guess what? if we decided that we don't want our children to listen to this, if we decided that if women decided, oh, I don't date men who are drug dealers, I don't date hustle boys, then guess what? Those men start, man, no, that ain't cool. I don't do that no more, man. No, that's how it works. We show up for one another in that way. We don't, it's not like a thing where it's like, oh, you still doing that? That's how people are. Think about this. Food, veganism, and all these different, movements that has happened. It has to become a distaste. But what's happening in our community is we can be as trifling as we want to be. Pookie and them can go and shoot up everybody and be a terrorist in the community. And then your grandmama will come and say, well, what he had, and let me fix him something to eat. Let this nigga starve. Get him out of the house. He does not need to be here. This is something that I will never forget. I heard someone say, when you have a child that is no longer interested in being your child, then you don't have a child. That means that if we are not listening, then our parents cannot guide us. And if our parents can't guide us, then we're not being childlike, okay? I mean that. I mean that. I don't want, so a lot of times as a woman, people feel like I'm being hard on women, but no, I'm trying to hold women accountable because I'm in the space of women. And men to hold men accountable because they are in the space with men. So if I'm in a space with women and I'm talking to a sister and I'm telling her, like, what do you mean? How you busting it wide open for a dude, who mind is gone? You don't see the mental delay. You don't see what's going on. Drug addict. I don't have a friend on the planet that will be, caught up OD'd. It's not that I'm better. I don't have friends that do drugs. In fact, because of who I am, if my friend did drugs, I'm not the friend that they will say, hey, do you want to do drugs with me? That's not who I am. But whenever we walk around and we want to be lukewarm on everything, we want to straddle the fence on everything, it's a destruction to us. This is the thing. White folks learned hundreds of years ago, in order for us to have complete power in this country, then what we need to do is we don't hire Black men. We don't hire Black women. We don't let them at our school. This was their thinking. I'm not here to say that it was accurate. I'm here to say that they would decided to do mean and inhumane things for their own personal agenda, for their families, for their segue, for their world. And you have to ask Black people, what are you willing to do for your family, for your world? Because a lot of us, we're not really willing to do anything besides say, man, yeah, that's messed up. Dr. Watkins, if you look at you built the Black Business School. You showed me how to do media. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, if I would have listened to him, I would probably have about $5 million right now, because he told me early on, before this stuff became even popular, he told me, this is important. Let me tell you about media. I knew nothing about media. I was a college student. He informed me, hey, this is what's going on. People that I used to blog with in 2008, they sold their blogs for millions of dollars. I could have did the same if I would have stuck with it. But that's the power of listening. The wealth is in listening, so all that to say that, we have the power to make the choices, but we keep on looking externally and not realizing that it's your uncle, it's your cousin, it's your brother, this your sister. My sister, let me just tell you, my sister, she ain't no hoe. And if she was, my mama would be telling her, no, that's not how you behave. We can't even, and then here's the thing about our community too now. We sensitive to each other. We sensitive. We you can't even say anything without Black people talking to other Black people about cancel culture. But they won't cancel white supremacy. When you gonna do that? How you gonna cancel? And then the culture of I'll do anything for fame. Now, listen to this, and
Mm.
I'm gonna be honest, and I have to say this, and I know you all may not agree, but you have a whole culture of music of women that is sexually provocative. Now, if the music producers say, well, you've been talking about sucking dick on the, for the last 10 minutes on the track, I got one for you. Why are you surprised? This is the behavior. This is
Wow.
the introduction to it. Why are you surprised? And let me tell you something about this raggedy media that we have. Ever since the beginning of time, since when they did the birth of a nation, they have vilified the black man. Every bad
Mhm.
thing that goes on in America, they always find a black man to make the face of the crime, to make the face of making bad decisions. I don't Diddy and Bill Cosby, you can't make me believe they the worst thing that Hollywood got going. I
Mhm.
don't
Mhm.
believe it. Not
Mhm.
now, not ever.
Right.
And not to mention, we don't have any media besides this to even offset it. We don't even have media of people that say, hey, you work with Diddy. Did he try to sleep with you? None of
Mhm.
those people get a voice. None of
Mhm.
them, because the media is hammering. New York City is the dirtiest city I've ever been to in my life. And it got rats the size of toddler children. They got way more issues than what they present right now. Eric and
Mm.
his conduct and misappropriating funds. I just really believe that it is always the agenda of white supremacy is to make a black person responsible for heinous crimes because it completes their narrative about blackness, that
Mm.
we don't have the capacity to be righteous. We don't have the capacity to be fair. We don't have the capacity, but we do. And a lot of us do, but you can't pay CNN to sit down with us. You can't pay MSNBC to sit with those who do.
Wow, that's really powerful. I mean, I think that's a really valid point in terms of kind of understanding. When Dr. Claude Anderson talks about Black people sort of being this permanent underclass, and there is kind of this belief that being Black sort of means that you're always gonna be kind of the scapegoat of society. That's what makes it complicated, right? When you look at what Diddy is accused of, or you look at Cosby or anybody, a lot of Black people would say, yeah, I think where there's smoke, there probably is fire. But then it's sort of like, yeah, but what about all the fire that's in your community? Why are you not holding your people to the same standard that you hold ours? And it's very easy to label Black people's in fact, one wealth strategy that's used right in broad daylight against the Black community is to find wealthy Black people, particularly the men, and find something that they did that can either get them canceled or that could be interpreted as being against the law, right? And so you have a Gloria Allred who loves to find women who dated rappers or slept with them and then sue them, based on some accusation that in many cases can't even be proven. But the guy might end up writing that $10 million check just because the accusation alone is enough to destroy him, right? And in fact, actually, right now, Gloria Allred's got a victim lined up, and he's probably got more that's suing Diddy, right? And again, I'm not saying Diddy didn't do something inappropriate, but I am also saying that there has to be proof of these things, and in many cases, there is no proof. So there are so many different avenues through which wealth can get lost with a combination of racism and bad culture, right? When you have us making bad choices, even though we trying to do better for ourselves and taking accountability. But then also you have this racist society that encourages us to make bad choices and through the music and everything else, and then likes to vilify us for making those choices. Like Malcolm X used to say that the white man will sell you the liquor bottle and then lock you up for being drunk, right?
Hmm.
So that's what we have to be thoughtful about is that if you're going to talk about Diddy, for example, you got to look at, well, who empowered Diddy? Who made Diddy a black leader, so to speak? Because he was a black leader. Diddy was a guy that was not just iconic culturally, He had a lot of wealth. He was on the cover of Forbes as an example of Black excellence in terms of economics. He was a political leader. He had a whole vote or die campaign. The Democrats, all the prominent Democrats have pictures of Diddy. They've been to Diddy parties. They're all connected to Diddy on a very deep level. They act like it never happened, but we saw vote or die. We saw that campaign. He ran a media outlet. He was trying to become the Black CNN. He had Revolt TV, and so it's interesting to me that it's like, yeah, well, this guy we've been feeding y'all all these years. Oh, just forget about him because he's bad. He bad. But we got somebody else around the corner. We're gonna start feeding to y'all. They're good. Diddy bad, right? And I think that there are a lot of people who are just kind of sick of that. Like, stop feeding us our culture and telling us who we are, and because ultimately, if you follow those blueprints that are laid out for you by white society, you're going to fail. You're not going to be an empowered Black person. Anyway, Madam President, you know what I'm gonna do? I want you to have the last word. And I want everybody to know before I let Madam President kind of close this out for today. I want to mention to everybody. Number one, everybody should follow her on social media. Her social media is one Madam President with a Z. With a Z. She's very, very good. She's going to be at the All Black National Convention, by the way, along with about 60 other people that we're bringing in to speak, and just speakers from all different backgrounds. We're there to think through our issues, solve our own problems, connect with each other. We're not anti-white. There's nothing anti-white about the All Black National Convention. It's just be one as in Black first, right? There we go. I'll put it over here, right? So that's what we believe in. That's what we do. So that's going to be October 25th through the 27th in Lombard, Illinois, right outside of Chicago. So if you'd like to join us, just go to allblacknationalconvention.com. That's allblacknationalconvention.com. You can meet Madam President in person if that's something of interest to you, as well as so many other people that'll be there. Brother Nuri Muhammad on down, just doctors, lawyers, my wife, Dr. Alicia, a lot of great people. The second thing I want to mention to everybody is we've been talking about this retirement crisis and the fact that most people have not been saving and investing for retirement, and that is an issue. So, you guys asked me to do this. So I put something together called Retire Rich and Early, a Dr. Boyce blueprint on retirement. That is a program where if you want to jump in and into that, you get lifetime access for $299, and it's yours for life. You can share it with your family, share it with your friends, and also because you're in this class. The first 150 people can get in for $99. So the price will drop to $99 for lifetime access for anybody that wants to join. And as kind of a kickoff of our retirement program, I'm doing an event Tuesday night at 8 o'clock where I'm going to break down the fundamentals of retirement planning, what that should look like. So this is great for those of you that are older, that are thinking about retirement. Also, those of you that are younger, you have to think about this stuff because retirement isn't just saving for when you get old. You're investing for while you're young. That's your capital base. So you got to build that capital base. So if you guys would like to join or be a part of that, I'll put the link in the chat and you can actually join for $99. That gives you access now and forever. And you can share it with anybody in your family that you'd like if that's of interest to you. All right. So, Madam President, close us out. Where do we go from here?
Oh, well, first of all, I would just like to say I'm so excited about seeing everybody at the All Black National Convention. I am from Chicago, born and raised. Okay. I am a Chicago girl, Shot City, Shot Town, stand up. That's me all day, every day. So I'm very excited that we had this. One of the things that I think we do moving forward is home. You are the president, the Madam President, the CEO of your home. Get your house in order. Stop with all the external ideas that, I got to get to this person and that person in order for my family and I to have a better life. In fact, you have a Dr. Boyce Watkins who could very well be on just as powerful as Diddy in society if the world didn't want Black men who didn't have discipline, if the world valued and appreciated Black men who want one wife, one family, who don't have, sex shows and all of that. So integrity in how we move is important. I believe that the best thing to do is follow the creator. I don't go to no parties where people start taking off their clothes and people start looking crazy because there's no place for me there. And I think a lot of us have that understanding. I believe that have your esteem, your belief system in place, And the only way is up. And I can't wait to see everybody at the convention. I'm one Madam President on all social media platforms, and I am 100% politically incorrect.
All right, all right. Well, everybody, please give a digital thank you to Madam President for coming in and hanging out with us. I didn't know that some of those words, those cuss words was coming out, but I like authentic communication. I love it. I think it's great, and I think that generally speaking, what I like about what Madam President does is I think we need a wake up call. I don't know about y'all, but I kind of feel that we as a community we need people that are going to tell the truth, not be scared. I know these are the people I rock with. I rock with people that are soldiers that believe in this sort of thing. My wife, I don't know if I ever told you that, Madam President, but Alicia, Alicia was talking about how Cardi B blocked her husband, right? And she said, yeah, she said, and I got blocked by Cardi B too. I said, oh, that's right. I forgot that you did because Alicia was kind of doing an analysis on the epidemic of fetal alcohol syndrome in the Black community and how so many of us are unaware that when a woman is pregnant and she doesn't know she's pregnant, even if she drinks small amounts of alcohol, that gets into the baby. It causes severe neurological problems, behavioral issues, the ADHD, the ability to even think and process information or to have any form of discipline. And this isn't something people talk about. Instead, they promote the city girl lifestyle. Like just go out, be wild, party, do whatever you want, no consequences. Now, I'm not one to tell somebody not to be a city girl or a city boy, whatever it is you want to do. But I am a person to say that you are a damn fool if you think that you can live an undisciplined life and not have a consequence.
Hmm.
You a damn fool. If Massa done tricked you into believing that you can make just irrational, crazy decisions, not plan for the future, not save, not invest, not get an education, not have discipline, sleep with whoever you want, take drugs, just taking alcohol, act a damn fool, and you ain't gonna have a consequence, then go ask all the Black people that are now in the grave at the age of 40 because they were living their life when they were in their 20s. Look at how many people are in the clinics with STD results they'll never tell you about. Go talk to DMX, but you can't talk to him because the poor guy's 6 feet under. He could have been the greatest rapper in history. He could have been. I promise y'all, if DMX, based on how his career started, if he had remained alive and healthy, he could be as wealthy as Jay-Z, as big as Tupac because he had that much talent. But now all that is buried 6 feet deep. No legacy for the children, no wealth for the kids. They got a couple of songs that they can get royalties from, but he could have been as big as Michael Jackson. Anybody who remembers that era will agree with me because I don't think there's hardly any other artist I ever knew of who released two debut albums in the same year that were both number one. That's how powerful he was. And we lose. And again, remember, poor, passing over opportunities repeatedly. Every time you see somebody throw it all away, we are passing an opportunity to have wealth. It's time for us to wake up and take accountability. So thank you for taking accountability, Madam President. I appreciate you. Love you very much. And love y'all as well. So by the way, everybody, if you're not on the text list and you want to get reminded when we do Money in the Morning, we do this every single day, 7 days a week, 10 a.m. Eastern. If you'd like to join us each day or get a notification, get on the text list. You can get on the text list by texting the word morning, MORNING, to the number 87948. That's morning to 87948. Or you can also go to b1moneytips.com. If you live international, just go to b1moneytips.com and you can also join that way. So have a good day, everybody. God bless you. We'll see you next time. And thanks.